Hi folks, welcome back to the Hoard. What am I up to here? You guys probably could tell from all the questions I was asking, and I've made a couple of videos on this thing, that I was concerned about the oil seal. This is the oil seal from this one. This is a spare cover I bought on eBay because, just quickly, these things are known for throwing the chain and screwing up the cover. And if you quickly look at this cover, you guys can see there's a crack there, right? Which might have been from dropping it, but there's also a crack there that emanates from where the chain, right, hit the case. You guys could see this is cracked here, right? So they're known. These things are known for destroying the cases when they throw the chain. So we know that, and keep that in one part of your brain. The other thing to realize is I owned a TRX200SX with this engine on it, and I got it, and it leaked oil. It also had some bearing problems that I corrected. And my assumption was, back to the assumption thing, that this thing had a case problem, and that's why it was leaking oil. After starting it up and spending some time with it, as you could see over by the chain here, right, there's not a bunch of oil on that chain, and there's no oil dripping from where that is. So I took the starter cover off and then I ran it for quite a while. And it took a while, but eventually when the oil got hot enough, it would squirt out from around the crank hole right there. We're looking at this thing up close, right there. This is the seal that was in there on this one. And the way I got it out is I was able to tap it out from the back. You guys could see that little slot right there, and I just tapped it out. So I've been avoiding working on this one a little bit, because one of the first things I noticed when I went to take this bolt out is that it was wicked tight. It was so tight as I went to take it out that I thought it might be reverse threaded. I thought it might have left-hand threads. I thought it might tighten by going counterclockwise. So I kind of leaned on it a little bit, and I'm like, man, I hope I don't break this bolt off. And I was kind of avoiding it, but whether you're an adult or you're a child, sooner or later you got to take the medicine, so you can't avoid things forever. You might as well just do it. I did some research, and I spoke to Calvin, and I realized that this was a standard right-hand thread, i.e., you tighten it by going clockwise. As you're looking at the clock, you tighten it by going the same direction the clock goes. So when I realized that, I said, well, damn the torpedoes, and I, kind of used a screwdriver to hold this thing in place, and I got on this thing, and I figured, well, if I'm going to break it, I might as well break it, and I leaned on it pretty good, and it came loose. The bolt didn't break. Well, that made me pretty happy, and once I got the bolt loose, I slid this right out, and I said, oh good, it's not all torn up, right? Ran my fingernail across that, right? It's not all scarred. I said, oh good. Let's take a look at the seal. So I'm looking and I'm going, I'm not seeing a seal. Then I got my face way in there, and I'm like, homie just ain't seeing a seal. And I'm like looking and looking, and like there's no seal in here. I'm like, son of a gun, I guess I don't have to worry about getting the seal out, because it ain't there. Where am I? Right? Somebody took my seal. I mean, it just ain't there. I have the feeling that somebody had worked on this thing before I did, and for whatever reason took it apart, took the seal out, and forgot to put it back in, or whatever the heck they did. They didn't do it well. So I guess Harvey don't have to remove the seal. I'm going to, I got two new ones. I got this guy here, right, sitting right there. And I got another one in the bag over there, underneath the drill and the socks. So I cleaned this all up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, God, I used to live with this stuff when I was a kid, putting it on everything. I'm going to just take a little of this high tack, and I'm going to take the end of a Q-tip, and I'm going to kind of get a little bit around that seal. What do you want to? Seal bore. Yeah, let's go with that, seal bore. And then I'm going to take a socket that's exactly the right size to catch the outside of the seal. Right, and I'm going to gently tap it in, tap it right into place. And I've chatted with a couple of you guys on this topic also. When I took high school shop, what we used to do is use motor oil on that, and I guess a lot of you guys recommend grease. So I'm going to go with the grease, and I guess the grease is better at keeping those seal lips. There's two of them, an inner and an outer. I guess the grease is better, right? You guys could see there's kind of two, right? An inner. I think you guys could see them, right? I guess grease is better at keeping those things from folding over, which once again will promote even more of an oil leak. I'm lucky with this. There's a shoulder, right, that inner shoulder, right, that it goes up against. I don't have to worry about pushing it in too far. I did watch some videos and all to learn how to do this correctly, and from those videos I learned that on some of these, if you're doing it generally, if you push them in too far, you got to be careful, because some have oil drains, right? And if you smash right up against that side wall and there's an oil drain in that little outer lip, and you plug it up, obviously you're going to cause some trouble. So I learned that from watching a couple of videos. If you guys look at this, some of you guys recommended driving a screw into this. I think I got a screw over here. Yeah, there really isn't much to kind of get the screw into. What I was gonna do is, if you kind of follow this through here, and down, you can see there's a little notch. I was going to try to get a little hook into that notch and pull it out that way. So, I guess for something that I've been avoiding, and if you want to go for, back when I had this bike, and I owned the rest of the bike, the frame and all, before I put a motor on it, over 20 years ago, the reason kind of why I swapped the engine out is because it leaked oil, and I saw the damage to the case, and I made an assumption that was not true. I assumed that the leaky case was the cause of the oil leak. It turns out the case wasn't leaking. It turns out somebody got in there before I did, stole my oil seal, and that was the cause of the oil leak. So I guess what I want to do is I want to share with you, first of all, what I learned, just a few comments about that oil seal and how to get it out and how not to put it in too far and to use your high tack stuff and tap it in with the socket and all those other wonderful things. So it's good to discuss the general installation discussion, but it's also important not to make assumptions. Right? My assumption was oil leak was due to a cracked case. My assumption was my oil leak was due to a bad seal. Well, it wasn't a bad seal, it was no seal, which was weird. It had to warm up before it leaked oil. I'm not quite sure what that's all about. Maybe some of you guys might even have some thoughts about, why did it have to warm up before it leaked oil? Should have leaked oil without a seal in there right from the get-go. But I mean, you guys could see there's not part of a seal in there. There's nothing in there. I mean, it is not there, and there's not part of a seal or nothing here. I mean, that's what it looked like when I took it out. I've since gave it a little cleaning, obviously, and I double checked for damage, but I didn't have to clean part of a seal off of there. It just wasn't there. Alright folks, if any of you guys stole my seal, I appreciate it. It saved me a lot of trouble. I want to thank all you guys for watching and commenting and subscribing. Remember to keep your feet down, keep your head up, and please get out there and enjoy all your days. Hopefully this thing will be romping in no time. Bye now.